What's super, everyone? I'm back again. My S cells are fueled. My key is ready. You know, Dragon Ball stuff. It's been a little while, and this is a little bit of a departure from the Blastoise video from before. Not talking about Pokemon today, talking about Dragon Ball. Because they announced a new movie a while ago. They had the Goku bouncing. Everybody knows about Goku bouncing, the best part of that trailer. Goku apparently has a power rod back, I think I saw. That's exciting. I like the power rod. Closer we get to Dragon Ball, the better. But anyway, so they just revealed the new villain, or old villain, but they revealed that the movie is called Dragon Ball Z Super Broly. And they got Broly on the poster here. It's a new design, and that's what we're talking about today because I feel crazy. Again, it's another one of those things where it seems like everybody loves it, and I'm the only one who doesn't seem to really care for it that much. And so I wanted to kind of make a video talking about his old design in comparison to his new design. And to make it clear right off the bat, I've never been a giant fan of Broly. Being kind of an on and off Dragon Ball fan my entire life. Only really getting more invested in the series like within the past 2 or 3 years. I've never watched any of the movies to completion. I think the only one I watched was Tapion's movie, and I forget almost all of it. But I don't have any particular fanboy love for Broly. I really didn't care for him at all until he got in the Dragon Ball FighterZ, and I got to look at him more, and I went, you know what? Yeah, he's pretty cool. But in terms of Dragon Ball, I've never really cared for the gigantic characters like Super Vegeta or whoever. You know, like, it's never been my thing. I always liked Boo. He was always kind of my favorite. The entire Boo line. Fat Boo, Super Boo, Kid Boo. Frieza was my other favorite. I never really cared for Cell. But in general, just saying, I'm not that big of a Broly fan, so I don't know. I'm not 200% on the lore. I haven't seen the movie. I'm just looking at this from a design perspective, and I have a little bit of not really kind of a lore prediction for the movie that I think would be cool, but this is not a lore video. This is a design video talking about his style and his color scheme and all that. And let's just go straight into it. So I'm going to try to take this kind of head to toe, I think, more or less. I want to talk about his face and hair first. So for old Broly here, this is the original design doc that I found on the Wikipedia, because that's where everything comes from. But on the old design doc, we have Broly here in his non-Super Saiyan form. And I remember reading on there that his hair is supposed to be black with tints of blue, which will become relevant in a second. But I want to talk about his eyes real quick, because you see he has these flat eyebrows, which is really unique because no other character in Dragon Ball really has eyes like that, like this. This kind of lowbrow sounds weird, but you know what I mean. It's flat and it's not very aggressive, whereas every other Dragon Ball character is like, it would do Vegeta eyes. Like, it's just this, and then there's the pupil, and then you have your little like under thing, and you got your angry eyebrow, and like this is every Dragon Ball character, right? And then you got your little you can never defeat me, Kaka carrot cake. There it is. There's our Dragon's Ball P reference. Anyway, to get that out of the way. But anyway, yeah. So his eyes aren't very aggressive. In general, his face and his overall demeanor and his hairstyle being kind of messy and weird is supposed to imply more of a docile nature, which is, of course, in contrast to his psychotic, murderous rampage version over here. And if I had to guess, I feel like that was kind of a thing, because Toriyama originally not really a action writer, he was more of a comedy writer, and one thing that he really likes in particular is when there's a character that appears to be weak and unassuming, and then the character is revealed to be super strong. So there's all kinds of shots in the original Dragon Ball of like, this Goku, he's a little kid, he's just a little, what can he do? And then he like suplexes a car or whatever, and they're like, whoa, and everyone's eyes like pop out of their head, and they're like, whoa, this kid's so strong, crazy, who would have ever guessed, right? And so I feel like that kind of translates to this, where it's like, normal Broly kind of doesn't look super tough. He's not even really as big as Goku and Vegeta, but then he becomes this gigantic, hulking, massive man. Oh boy. So that's kind of his original design, and not to go too far on that right now, but just to compare his old to his new. If we look over here, immediately right off the bat, I guess I'll just pull up the Here's kind of his old designs where you can see like his blue Super Saiyan hair and everything. But I'll talk about that more in a second. But so this is his original design up here, and then his new design for the new movie is this right here. And now immediately, my problem with this is battle damage, so we're not going to take this hair into account really, because this is like beat up hair. You know, like Goku's hair changes when he's beat up too, whatever. This is more just for his full body kind of view. But this is what we're really going to look at here. This is how he starts the film, I assume. We have him with Goku's hair. This is what Goku's hair looks like when he's Super Saiyan Blue. It has this little floof up here, where normally it would just be like, you know, like it is here. But if you exclude this little bit right here, this is Goku's Super Saiyan Blue hair, right? And so immediately, he's just like an evil Goku. Like right off the bat. We take away, he's got the angry eye, so he doesn't have any kind of like deceptive, docile appearance to him. He doesn't have a unique hairstyle. He doesn't have... He's wearing Saiyan armor. He just looks like a fusion of Goku and Bardock a little bit. But there's nothing really special about it. There's nothing unique about it. Whereas this... Like, this right here, his costume doesn't look like anything else in the series. His face doesn't look like anything else in the series. His hair doesn't look like any other characters in the series. And then we come to this, and he's just, honestly, in this poster, I legit mistook him for Yamcha for 1 second. If you take this color right here, and you just draw a little cross there, suddenly he's Yamcha. And that's a problem. Because he's got that eye again. He's got the angry eye, right? And, like, this is not how Broly used to look. We took him there, see? But, so, right off the bat, the design it's a little bit weaker. And then when he goes into the big Super Broly form, he looks like this, which is the same thing, just the green hair. Which is the same as before. Costume doesn't really change much, but... and there's his Super Saiyan non-giant form, his regular Super Saiyan form. And that's kind of that's the two designs right there. This one and this one. And I'm going to start with the hair, I think. Yes. Let's talk about the hair first. I kind of sort of have a list going. Not really sure how I wanted to structure this, but we're just going to go right into it. So, Broly's hair, like I mentioned, very unique. This stuff right here, where it's kind of squared off on top, it kind of, they mention it frames his head. In the wiki, they mention it. Kind of frames his head. It's squared off. It's kind of like Gohan, I guess, but not really. Like it's not shaped like Gohan's, but Gohan's had that kind of square shape to it in general. And then he's got the long hair in the back. And he's got this little band that kind of keeps his hair tamed over here. He doesn't have the shaved sides like Trunks does later on, but you know, it's poofy down bottom, poofy up top. He's got a gigantic forehead. He's got the biggest forehead I ever seen in my life, and I've seen a lot of Dragon Ball. And then, yeah, he's got the kind of the neutral, like where every other character would be angular. He's more neutral, right? He's flatter. When he goes Super Saiyan, though, and not to mention the legendary Super Saiyan form, but when he goes regular Super Saiyan, while he's got the mind control crown on, it suppresses his Saiyan, like his legendary Super Saiyan form, and so his hair goes from the black with the blue kind of highlights to this actually like dark blue, kind of muted blue spiky form, which is just his regular hair but spikier up top. And it's cool. I mean, I think prior to Super Saiyan Blue being a thing, I think it was neat that he had blue hair in his regular Super Saiyan form, which was another one of those characteristics where, you know, like his backstory, people complain a lot about, like, his problem with Goku is that Goku cried a lot as a baby. That's simplifying it a little bit because there's a whole bunch of trauma with him, you know, King Vegeta trying to murder him when he was a baby, and him being raised poorly, and just, like, there's a lot of trauma that he associated with Goku's crying. And so it's not the best writing in the world. It's not an amazing story, but that's kind of Dragon Ball in a nutshell. But there's a little more to it than people give him credit for. So, but his story is not what people know him for, and it's not his personality as much as his visual design and his fighting design go. So him having blue Super Saiyan hair before Super Saiyan Blue was a thing was really neat, and it's a cool design thing that he maintained. Even now, it's not quite the blue color, so it's cool. Then when he comes back and he doesn't have the mind control thing on in Second Coming, where he's got this big scar from him getting Luke hanged in the first movie, he has his regular Super Saiyan hair, and I think that this is one of the best designs in Dragon Ball. I think that this is how Broly should look all the time, right? And I know that kind of contradicts what I was saying about uniqueness, where this is just, it looks like Trunks' hair, but longer, and it's just gold like everybody else's, every other Saiyans, but just, there's something that's far more intimidating about him looking like everybody else, but being so much stronger than everyone else, which I guess is kind of the problem with Dragon Ball villains in general, but I don't know. I really prefer this version in contrast to the giant version, because this is kind of like ridiculous, and I'm not even a person who cares too much about like, oh, he's too big. I don't care about that. It's just that I think that the other version's a little bit cooler. But the one thing I will say about Legendary Super Saiyan is I do like it. It's not that I don't like it, but I just prefer the smaller version. But the thing with Broly's hair is that when he goes Super Saiyan, it's shaped kind of like Trunks, where you have this like upwards motion here. And then in the back, whenever I think of Broly's hair, I think of it all standing kind of upward, right? And in this design, you can see it kind of swoops around, but then it goes up in the back, and it all kind of points up towards the sky. And then down here, if we look at his sprite from Extreme Budoten, it's the same thing where it's kind of bangs, and then it does whatever up front, and then the back kind of stands upwards. And it's kind of like the difference between, if you think of Sonic, right? If you think of like, do the Sonic eyes and the Sonic mouth and all that, that's how Sonic's mouth looks, Jesus Christ. If you think of like Sonic, right? This is like a Sonic quill style, but then if you took it and you went like this and did the jagged thing, that's Shadow, right? And so that's always how I kind of think of Broly's hair, where Goku is more like this, and then Broly is more like this, right? He's the Shadow to Goku's Sonic. And yeah, and that maintains over here in his regular Super Saiyan form, where he has the same kind of unique spikiness. The only one that kind of comes similar to it is down here. I have a bunch of Saiyan hairstyles in general, and I think that Saiyan hairstyles lend a lot of personality to each character, and that they could use to be more varied, but for the most part, I think that they're okay. You recognize Goku's hair because he has the bangs and then the big spiky up back. Whereas Vegeta has the very noticeable widow's peak that he's known for. And then he has the same kind of spiky hair as Goku, but it's the bangs that really set it apart. And even with Gohan, where his hair is like Goku's but shorter, and he only has the one little thing. Or when he was a kid, he used to have even more unique hair, where he had his like normal hair, it was just spiky and gold. And then what makes Vegito really strong as a fusion between the two is the inverse colors and the gloves and everything. But his hairstyle is a mixture of Goku and Vegeta's. Right? And then we have Trunks, who has that same kind of jagged style. When you think of Trunks' hair, it's kind of lightning bolt shaped, right? And his is all up top, and then it's kind of shaved in the back, which is cool too. But it is shaped like Broly's minus the bangs and minus the long part in back. But if you were to add the back part, he would look a lot like Broly too. Honestly, when I was kind of planning this thing out, I honest to God, forgot about Caulifla and Kale a little bit. Although I like Caulifla and I like Kefla. Not so big on Kale because she's just kind of whatever. She's just kind of there to be female Broly. But I really like Kefla and I really like Caulifla. Even though they're all horribly wasted characters. There's a lot of wasted potential in Super in general, and we'll get to more of that later. But Caulifla kind of mirrors Goku. There's the other kid whose name I completely forget. He's the little skinny anemic looking Vegeta who's supposed to mirror Vegeta, I guess. And then there's Caulifla, who's supposed to mirror Goku a little bit, and then there's Kale, who's supposed to mirror Broly, where she's unassuming and she has the same kind of like flat, or not like that, but she has the same kind of like flat eyes as Broly, where she's always kind of like that, right? And so she has Broly's Super Saiyan hair, and Caulifla kind of has Goku's Super Saiyan hair a little bit, with the two little cowlicks instead of Gohan's one or Goku's multiple. And then when they fuse, they're kind of a mixture where it's Broly's hairstyle a little bit, but then it's like more laid flat, like Goku's a little bit, or like Caulifla's. So it's a cool mixture. Their fusion, obviously, just like with Goku and Vegeta as Vegito. But the main point to all this is that, as similar as they all are, the Saiyans do all have unique hairstyles and Super Saiyan hairstyles. And you can, if you were to draw just the hairstyle with no character attached, except for maybe Caulifla, in general, you can probably tell, like, the more dedicated fans can probably tell who's who. Your mom couldn't tell who's who, but, like, if you're showing them between this Goku and Gohan, I can tell the shorter one's Gohan. If you're telling me between Goku and Vegeta, the Widow's Peak is Vegeta. If you're telling me, choose between Goku and Trunks, it's very clear who Trunks is. And even between Trunks and Broly, it's very clear which one's Trunks and which one is Broly. And now to get into the new movie, first of all, the biggest problem we have is that, again, this is kind of Dark Goku, like I mentioned. This is the hairstyle he has when he's Super Saiyan Blue. It does this little split like this, where Super Saiyan God Original, the red one, is just Goku's normal hair, but red, and kind of more, I mean, it's a little bit cleaner. There aren't the little strands poking out, I remember, was one of the defining features of it. But Super Saiyan Blue is Super Saiyan 1 hair, just with this extra little upward swoosh right here. But in the back, it's all the same. And the only thing that sets this Broly apart from Goku in terms of his hair is this little extra bit here, which implies that his hair is longer. Like, that's why that's there, is to make his hair look longer in general. Because it's kind of like overflowing over to his neck. But in general, it's just Goku's Super Saiyan hair, but black, right? And then when he goes Super Saiyan non-legendary, it's just Goku's hair, but longer. He's got the same bangs, right? And he's got, like, I mean, this is, like, weird promotional art, so even Vegeta's hair is, like, all swooshy and not the way it should be, and Goku's too, but, like, it's just shaped like Goku's hair, you know? And so the uniqueness of his non-Super Saiyan and Super Saiyan 1 hairstyles is kind of lost because now he just looks like Goku. And because he's wearing the Saiyan armor, he now kind of just looks like Bardock, but with longer hair and a cool tasset, kind of cool. But we'll talk about that in a minute. And then my other problem is that, and this is just this is concept art, so we haven't seen an animation yet, and I'm not going to go making any call-outs just yet. But his hair is all kind of like it turns down here. It's kind of swooshed up a little bit. It's softer. It's not as dynamic. It's not as aggressive. And it doesn't have this cool angular style that I associate with Broly. You know, it doesn't have this little lightning bolt thing that that Kale has. It doesn't really look like Broly's hair. It just kind of looks like longer green Goku hair. And I think that's kind of my biggest problem with his hair, is he doesn't really... Broly's hair was very defined, and everybody knew as soon as they saw it who it was, right? And now the only defining feature is that it's green. And while that was a defining feature before, the shape of it itself was also unique. And so I don't know if this is a thing where they kind of didn't realize what made Broly stand out. If they just thought, well, he has green hair, and that's Broly, right? But that's not all of it. So, I don't know. That's right off the bat my first problem was I was like, he doesn't kind of... I mean, it looks cool. I mean, like, angry, pissed off, evil Goku with gold eyes looks pretty fucking cool. But again, it just kind of looks like a fusion of Goku and Bardock. Barku. Godok. I don't know. But, yeah, that's... yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm looking over my notes here. Yeah, that's about it. It does kind of look like Shallow, whatever the fuck his name is from the new thing. Where Shallows is kind of like, it's like this, where it's all spiky backwards, and then he's got a single little thing here. It's the guy from Dragon Ball Z Legends, where this is kind of what he looks like a little bit. I forgot to grab a picture, so you'll just have to take my word for it. But he looks kind of like the mobile game guy. Not a whole lot, that's why I didn't bother grabbing it. But just to throw that out there, it looks very standard. So moving on now. Where are we moving on now? I think we're moving to... Oh yeah, I wanted to mention his skin's tanner, which is kind of cool. That does set him apart a little bit. Although when he goes Legendary Super Saiyan, he turns pale again. So I don't know, but in general, his tanner skin is cool because like Paragus had tan skin before, but he didn't really, and so him being tan in comparison to all the other paler Saiyans, that does make him seem a little bit more. I don't know. They're going for a wild kind of look with this Tacet. So I guess it plays into him being a little more. It looks like Tarzan in this fucking picture. It's kind of what I'm trying to get at. So yeah, I think that the skin color change is kind of cool, but it does kind of suck that he reverts back to normal when he turns legendary. But what can you do? But anyway, moving on. We are moving on now to the Saiyan armor. And up here I want to mention in the design doc, it says very clearly, in Japanese, but translated to English, it says battle suits such as the ones worn by Vegeta were issued by Frieza's forces, so Broly doesn't wear one, right? That's the Saiyan armor like this. So, we're going to open up the, where's the Saiyan armor part? And we're going to scroll down to these couple characters that wear Saiyan armor. This is Saiyan armor, for anybody who doesn't know. And, like the thing mentions, Broly was an infant. He was a baby, like a naked baby in a cradle when they fucking stabbed him to death and then threw him in a garbage dump and then Planet Vegeta was blown up. So he never wore the Frieza Force armor. Vegeta was like 10 or something at the time, so he was old enough to wear the armor, and so he did. His dad wore it. Even Paragus wore a modified version of it. Bardock wore it. Turles, who I know absolutely nothing about Turles, but he wore it. Raditz wore it. Nappa wore it. A bunch of people wore the Saiyan armor that was, done by Frieza. And the Dragon Ball Legends kind of implies it was based off of an older Saiyan armor design, but that's not really important. The point is that in the time period in the original one, Broly's whole character was that, the Goku crying thing. And so he was the same age as Goku, and that's why he didn't have the armor, because Goku was sent to Earth earlier. Whatever. Lore stuff, right? But the fact that he's wearing the armor now would imply that he's as old as Vegeta, or older. And that he was, like, alive on the Saiyan planet, and, like, cognitive and a part of society prior to Vegeta, or to Frieza blowing it up. And so that's kind of interesting, I guess, but at the same time, like I mentioned, one of the cool things about Broly was that his costume doesn't look like anything else in the series. He has a very unique costume design, and now he's just wearing Saiyan armor. And sure, it's squared off on the edges, I guess, if you want to throw that in there, but he's just wearing Saiyan armor now. And the only thing they did to kind of change it up is this Tacet here, which is made of, like, green fuzzy shit. And I have a theory about this that, let me look and see where we're at. I'm trying to keep with my fucking notes here. Yeah, let's talk about this Tacet here. So, one of my big problems is the color theory of the whole thing. Where original Broly, this color scheme is strong. This is a powerful color scheme. This is one of those things like I was mentioning, and I'm gonna do a little tester right now. See, we're gonna take orange, we're gonna take our brush, we're gonna draw a big orange circle, right? And then we're gonna take red. We're gonna take this color red in our brush. We're gonna draw a big circle, right? And then we're gonna make a clipping group because I love clipping groups so much I make out with them in my sleep. And we're gonna draw a little green line right here, right? And when I do that, anybody who has played a Nintendo game recognizes this color scheme vaguely as Samus, whatever the fuck you want to call her. This color scheme looks like the Varia suit. If you put it like this, even this is vaguely like the Varia suit, right? Because the Varia suit's color scheme is very, very strong and very unique. And it was like, nothing else really has bright orange, bright red, bright green, right? And so if you take Broly and we'll take our brush, if you grab the white and you put it down here, right? If you just do slashes, like we'll do a white slash, and then we take the red, and then we do a like burgundy slash, and then the gold, and we do one of those, and then we take the green, and we do one of those. Like, anybody who's watched Dragon Ball, who's seen the movies, if you see a character, like if you were playing a fighting game and you saw a character alternate color that had these colors, your brain would immediately recognize it as Broly. In Skullgirls, if you look at the costumes in there, as soon as everyone saw Eliza or whoever, or Big Band or whatever, had a yellow, black, and green color, immediately, the second everyone saw that, whoever watched JoJo once, went, that's a fucking Dio color, right? When you see Big Band with red, light blue, yellow, and white, everybody who saw that went, that's King Dedede. It's very, very strong color theory. These are character designs that... The two things that make a character really strong, and I think the Jury from Street Fighter is a really good example of this, is a strong silhouette, which Broly very obviously has. He's very imposing, and he's got the big spiky hair. You can look at it, you can go, who's that Pokemon? And you can see that it's fucking Broly, because he's got a very unique shape, right? A strong silhouette and strong color design. And so, Vegeta, those Adidas shoes they were making, where they had one that was blue, white, and gold. You go, oh, that's Vegeta. You see orange, blue, and white. You go, oh, that's Goku, right? But then if we go down to the new Broly, we see, if we just go based off of this, because the other problem here is that those are this is like 4 colors, right? This is white, gold, and red with I guess blue accents, but then the green hair. And that's 4.5 colors, 4 or 5 colors, right? In this, we've got neon purple, and you can kind of see it better over here. We have neon purple, neon green, a different shade of green, black, and white, and then his gold eyes, right? And so we're already a little bit convoluted with the contrast between these two colors. This could have been brown, and it would have solved a big problem. His pants could have... in this picture, his pants are blue, like Vegeta. And so if the dark pants and the chest plate were the same color, and these parts were either brown or white, or they just weren't similar green to the tacet, it would work a lot better. But this whole chest plate just conflicts with everything because it's a different color green, and it's not the purple. And it's they could have just made the pants black or something, but these are kind of just clashing on their own without the tacet. And then when you bring the tacet into play, it's a completely different color green, and it's this obnoxious neon green. It's so ugly. It's terrible. I hate it. But, so his color theory is all over the place. If I brought you a color palette, and I said, hey, here is fucking purple, and here is fucking green. If I show you purple and green and white, who do you think of if I give you these 3 colors? You're either going to think of the Joker or fucking Eva 1 from Evangelion, the big stupid purple-green robot. I never watched Evangelion either. Roast me. But this is not, especially when you take the 2 different greens, because you take that green and then you take this green, and it's now we're mixed. And these colors don't speak Broly to me. They could have taken the same costume, the same design, and just made it Broly's original colors, and it would have been great. And the only reason I think that the tacet is the way it is because of these scars. And my theory with these scars, like I mentioned, there's going to be a little minor theory thing here, not much, but if I had to guess, if I wanted, I want this to be real because I think it'd be really cool. He's got the scars on this half of his body, right? And he doesn't have a tail because either Toriyama just forgot that Saiyans have tails again, or there's a reason for it. And the only reason I can think of is that the last time he turned into a great ape, he got his fucking arm blown off, or he got some of his fur cut off or something. He got maimed really bad in the arm, and then he got his tail cut off. And that this is a pelt from when he was what's that word? Ozaru? The fucking giant, the great ape? This is his pelt from when he was a great ape that fell off, and then he wears it as a belt because the Saiyans, like Raditz wore his tail as a belt, you see? And Vegeta did it too. That's just because when you grab a Saiyan's tail, they lose all their powers. And so they wear it around their waist, for protection. But this could be a symbol of pride because he wears the armor, so he was alive at the same time as Vegeta. He was cognitive at the same time as Vegeta. So he would have his Saiyan pride intact, in theory. And so this could be a symbol of him trying to maintain his Saiyan pride despite having lost his tail. Now, in the original Dragon Ball, I'm pretty sure they established the tail grows back, so that's a whole another problem with Z into Super. But that's another story. But that's the only thing I can think of with this Tacet and why it's a different color than the chest plate. But again, the chest plate didn't have to be green at all. And I think that, I mean, like Bardock's or Turtles, somebody was green. I'm done talking about it. I don't know. It's too... Dragon Ball is all over the place, and I don't know. But these colors don't work for me. Is the long-winded point I'm getting at is these colors don't work. And especially when you go into Super Saiyan, here's another problem with this. Original Broly, and this is going to go into another character discussion that includes Tails. I guess I'll throw out here too. I love this from this design doc. The part right here where this is where Toriyama stopped caring about Super Saiyans at all, where he says, "I think it's fine whether or not he has a tail." And it's just like he really just don't give a fuck anymore. Like the tail adds so much to a Saiyan's design because it makes them, you know, again, to use the same word I've been using over and over again, it makes them be more unique. It's something special about the Saiyans. It's how you know when you see a Saiyan, you go, oh, the tail, that's a Saiyan, right? And that's how you distinguish them from normal people so that you don't get a guy who looks like Yamcha. If I saw this dude and I go, oh, is that Yamcha? And I see a tail, I go, oh, no, that's not Yamcha, that's a Saiyan, right? Yamcha's not a Saiyan, he don't have a tail. And so if we were to imagine Broly having a tail here, you know, he would look cool. That looked more like something else, but Broly with a tail would be kind of cool. Because I think that Raditz is really cool because he had a tail. Even though Raditz is kind of a jobber. Like, his role in the plot is he's a jobber. But Raditz with a tail is cool. And I think Vegeta, if he still had his tail, would be really cool too. And we'll talk more about tails in a second, but that will be in conjunction with something about his pants. And now you're probably fucking confused. Don't worry, I'll get there. I'm trying to keep it all together in my head, but I'll get there. So Broly's pants. Broly's torso is freakish. It is nightmarish. He looks like Abigail from Street Fighter V. He is gigantic. Humongous. He goes from 7 feet tall as a regular Saiyan to 9 feet tall as a legendary Super Saiyan. He is huge. And no, he does not do leg day. And so, in exchange for leg day, because no matter how big your torso gets, your legs are never, like, they're too long and they're too naturally thin that they'll never quite catch up to the rest of you most of the time, especially with a character like this in an anime. Like, it's important that the torso looks strong, but with Goku here, you see that his torso is balanced. Like, Goku and Vegeta, even Vegeta, you see he's got kind of tiny legs and he's got, like, a wider chest, whereas Goku's a little more balanced, but Broly is all torso. This dude is all torso. No leg day. And so these big poofy pants offset his freakishly large torso, right? And you can see it even down here where, it, like, with the poofy pants on, like, it makes his lower half bigger, which is another thing where it's, like, kind of this wider on the bottom and smaller up top character design is kind of cool. You can see it with, like, Heihachi from Tekken and Geese Howard from King of Fighters. The big Hakama with the smaller, muscular top looks really cool, and that's where this design kind of comes from, I imagine. It's like the kind of, like that kind of character design of big Hakama, samurai pants, and then the more, you know, leaner, fit, muscular upper body. But here he's all upper torso, so they balance it with his big poofy pants. Whereas on the new design, we have the big poofy upper body, but we have his regular tiny legs. And it's hard to see here because I don't have the full picture. But it's like he has his little normal size, like Goku size legs down here, but he has this gigantic Broly torso. And he looks fucking weird. Like, he looks super bizarre and off balance. And the Tacet doesn't do enough to solve the problem, especially because his legs are bright green, and now without the armor at all we have is this bright purple and bright green. All we have is Joker and Eva colors, right? And so losing the pants actually hurts this design because the Tacet is not enough because his legs are too thin. And his legs could have been bigger, but they're not, at least in this artwork. They don't really grow with him. Like, it's hard to see here, and if you go look up the actual pictures, I'm sorry I didn't pull up the right ones, but his legs are about the same fucking size. Either way. And we can see this theory with big pants making characters look a little more powerful if we pull up... where are our pants? Here we are. So, here's 4 designs. And we have here from the... I think this is from... I know it was an assist in Budoten, and I think that they made a card for it in Dokkan Battle, and it might have been in Heroes. I'm not positive. But if we look at the Super Saiyan 4 design, it's one of my favorite designs, and it's another thing we're going to talk about later. It has the tail, which looks cool, Like, it looks, I don't know how to describe it. It just looks cool, right? And Android 21 from Dragon Ball FighterZ, the tail is like the strongest part of this design because you have the big hair, big pants, and the tail, right? And it looks fucking awesome. And with Super Saiyan 4, Goku and Gogeta, you have big hair, tail, big pants, right? It looks fucking awesome. Super Saiyan 4 Broly, gigantic hair, gigantic torso, long tail, huge pants, right? Fucking awesome. But when you take away the big pants and the tail, and he's just big torso, just big hair, and then little normal legs, it doesn't look as cool. And there's like you all see Napoleon Dynamite, Rex Kwon Do. Nobody wants to take a roundhouse kick to the head with these bad boys on, right? Boo looks stronger because of the big pants. She looks strong because of big pants. If you watch Dragon Ball FighterZ footage, you can see when they do their heavy kicks, it looks cool because of their big heavy pants. And like the big pants shirtless design works really well for fighters in general. And if you look at some of like Sagat from Street Fighter, some of his alternate costumes where he has like kind of yoga pants on and then his big torso, he doesn't look right. And it doesn't look right when he hits things. Like fighting naked looks weird. Fighting with big cool pants on looks cool and big and cool. And so that's like, so losing this design aspect, because he has the kind of like Boo pants on a little bit, but he's got this big cool Tacet on too. And the big cool Tacet would work here if he still had the Boo pants, but he has the Vegeta pants. And he's not wearing the right pants, so he looks like a damn fool. Right? And I think that's all the ranting about pants I have to do for right now. But so in general, to recap, I actually wanted to mention real quick too about Super Saiyan 4 because this is relevant, and I'm gonna double check. I'm sorry, I'm keeping track of my fucking list here. Talk to my grade 8 pill. Okay, so we'll just go right into it now. So Super Saiyan 4 is like my favorite design in Dragon Ball next to the Majins. Because for anybody who doesn't know, and I'm remembering this off the top of my head, I haven't researched it in a while, but my understanding was that they had to regrow Goku and Vegeta's tails in Dragon Ball GT, because in order to ascend past Super Saiyan 3, you have to have a Great Ape tail, so that it like, thematically, this is a Great Ape, the Ozaru, condensed into a Super Saiyan form, as far as I remember and understand it, right? At least in my, if that's not the canon, that's my head canon, is that this is all the power of a Great Ape, because you can go Super Saiyan Great Ape, but this is all of that condensed into a Super Saiyan form. And that idea is cool, and you get the big kabuki hair, you get the cool eye makeup, it looks fucking awesome. He's got the gold eyes, it looks fucking awesome. Every Super Saiyan 4 design is the coolest ever, and thematically, because of the tail and because of like the ape form, and just because, like I mentioned before, the tail just looks cool. Like, the tail adds a lot to the Super Saiyan 4's design thematically and visually. And even though it's technically a weakness for the Saiyans, it's like, it just makes it really fucking cool. And so, when they first showed this, in the trailer, I thought because of his hair and the Tacet, it looked like a Super Saiyan 4 for a second. In one of the frames, I remember getting hyped because I thought I saw a Super Saiyan 4, right? Now, this is from GT, which is not canon. And Broly is from the Broly movie. The Broly Legendary Super Saiyan is also not canon. So, my original idea when I saw that first trailer was, if that's Broly, wouldn't it be fucking cool if they brought Broly back and made him canon, but also had him return, and instead of being the green legendary Super Saiyan like he was, he can still be green, but make him Super Saiyan 4 so that that form exists in the canon, because that form is the coolest thing that happened to GT, by far. Like, nothing else cool happened in GT besides Super Saiyan 4. From what I remember. But so, to me, the idea of bringing Broly back as a Super Saiyan 4 was like the coolest thing in the world. And so now we have this wasted potential where it's like, okay, so Broly wasn't canon, and as a solution to Broly not being canon, we created a new Broly with Kale, right? But now, I guess people didn't like Kale, or she got bad reception or something, because now we're just doing Broly again, but instead of, like, it just seems like a cop-out, because why even have Kale if now we have Broly, who serves the same purpose? They both serve the same purpose. if Broly's story is different, then he needs a new design. And it would have been a great opportunity to bring this back or to create something new, but instead they're going to see him and go, oh, he's just like KO. And it's like, no, he should be just like Broly. And like my thing is, like, why bother bringing him back if you have a Broly already and you're not going to do anything new with it, then why even bother? And a lot of people seem to feel that way too. Of like, a lot of people apparently just don't like Broly because of his writing. I'm like, Dragon Ball isn't about the writing. It's about the fucking spectacle. Like, Plague of Gripes, I think all of his videos have been removed from YouTube because of Funimation or whatever. Oh god, this might get removed from YouTube. Oh shit. But he's had his movie or videos all pulled. But if you watch any of Plague of Gripes' talking about Dragon Ball designs or Dragon Ball Super in general, he talked about how the feats are the same in Dragon Ball. Nothing has changed in Dragon Ball. Everything is always the same. It's just different scale. Right? It's just a matter of perspective. But it's about the spectacle. It's not about the fucking characters' backstories. It's about likable characters and the cool, flashy things that they do, right? Vegeta was a dickbag, and now he's like a good dickbag, right? And we like his character because he's charming. He's a dick, but he's charming. And Goku's just a fucking idiot, but we love him because he's such a fucking idiot. And all we want is to see him shoot a big laser beam. And I don't care, like, Dragon Ball, the story was fun, and, like, sure, you cared about those characters and it mattered, but nobody, like, it doesn't fucking matter what Broly's backstory is. Which is why it feels stupid to talk about the Saiyan armor, because, like, why does it matter? But, like, again, if this Saiyan armor is all that's different about this new Broly, and it comes off when he goes Legendary Super Saiyan, like, why fucking bother? And I guess that's the whole point of all this, is that when it comes to the new Broly, the reason that I don't really care for it, and why I'm confused about why other people are so hype about it, is because this is nothing new, but it's not the old thing. Right? It's not what everybody knows, but it's not a new thing. And the color scheme is god-awful. And it's not Super Saiyan 4. It's just Broly again, but we've already had Broly again. And I don't know what else to say about it. It just sucks. And I don't even care about this design. But the new one just sucks. And so if he gets a new form, I'm interested to see it. But because the movie obviously isn't out yet at the time of this discussion, but, like, if this is all there is, if it's gonna be another Resurrection F where he just shows up and then Goku and Vegeta beat on him and then he leaves and he dies or whatever, like who cares? You know, like what does making Broly canon accomplish if, like, this is all he's going to be used for? That's just, I don't know. I guess that's me, but so I guess if you like the design or not, I guess let me know in the comments below, and, like, what it is about the new design that you really like. I like Android 21. She's a cool design, and not even just in the waifu aspect. Android 21 is just she's so strong because she's got, it's things we've seen before, but in a new style, and it's, like, cool because you never expected it coming out of her, right? But she's got her big hair, which turns white, which none of the other Majins have hair, so that's kind of unique in itself. But she's got the boo pants, but she's also got the Frieza tail, and you're like, whoa, what the fuck? And I didn't play the story mode of Dragon Ball FighterZ, so I don't know what all that's about. But visually, it's just really interesting if you know Dragon Ball. And even if you don't know Dragon Ball, it's like, whoa, hot gumball demon lady who eats you as a cupcake. That's pretty cool. This is a great design. This is a great design. This is a great design. This is not a great design. But, yeah, I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments. I think that's just about everything I wanted to say. I rambled again. I apologize, but there you have it. Broly. Goodbye.